Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today here in Zone 7, Central North Carolina, we are experiencing an ice storm. The ice has been falling since about 4 a.m. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning now, and I haven't actually been outside to see it all. I've only been looking through the windows. Ice storms are very different than snowstorms. They're really dangerous. You should definitely not be out driving. And for the plants, it's like, generally speaking, ice is good. It's an insulator. However, with broadleaf evergreens, it gets to be really heavy and it weighs the plants down, and that can cause them to break and snap. And not only broadleaf evergreens, but also with conifers. So here in North Carolina, where like half the state is covered in pine trees, ice storms can cause a lot of chaos because they fall on power lines, and then we don't have any electricity. And though, yeah, it's not super cold, we're right around freezing. I think we're 29 degrees right now. And in an hour, we're supposed to be at like 33 degrees. Therein lies the reason that we're not getting snow. And trust me, you always want to have snow over ice. Like, if you have the choice, snow is always better. But I wanted to show you a few things now, and then I will continue to add clips as the day goes on, and fingers crossed we won't have any major branches break off. Behind me is the barley wall. Barley is totally cold hardy, and it's just kind of interesting to see it with the blades just coated in ice. So we'll just take a quick walk around, and I'm going to be really careful to not slip and fall, because this is actually what happens to people. You go out and walk, and then you slip on, slippery stairs, you break your hip, and all of a sudden your life is never the same. I don't want that to happen to me. So you can't totally tell, but even the handrail is completely coated in ice. So that doesn't help you at all. Like, holding on to this, you're not going to actually have a grip. So like every surface is completely covered in ice. You can see here with that cap is a little easier to see. Of course, the floating arrangements are also all frozen. I just broke a little bit of that. I think they look super cool at this stage. And here, look at the chairs coated in ice. Everything is just coated in ice. You see the barley there. I mean, it's quite beautiful, but it's yucky out for sure. Here's of course what the ground looks like. Luckily, the concrete is not. It probably will at some point this afternoon, but right now the concrete is clear. But like, these stairs are coated in ice. They're really dangerous. I do have salt that I need to apply to make these stairs easier. And you can see what happens with broadleaf evergreens. Here are trachycarpus, windmill palms, and the ice just builds up on the foliage and makes them collapse. You can see they're just coated in ice, and it's really pretty thick actually. Let me try and pull one of these off. There you have it. It's a palmsicle. The back side, this side is getting more coverage than the other of the barley wall. I mean, I think it's quite beautiful. And the barley will be fine. Again, you can see like the plants are just coated in ice. Here's thyme. Frozen in time. Now the plant that caught my attention the most is this magnolia here. I'm going to walk really carefully because the grass is starting to freeze over. But you can see what happens with broadleaf evergreens as the weight of the ice becomes too much. They just sort of bend, and often they'll actually like touch the ground. It's actually pretty remarkable. So broadleaf evergreens are usually one of the bigger challenges in an ice storm. And of course, in North Carolina, we grow a lot of broadleaf evergreens. So you see this magnolia here is definitely starting to bend out of shape. Osmanthus, camellias, viburnum. Yeah, it's a sight to behold. Check out the kale frozen in time. It's pretty remarkable. And so the whole garden looks this way. but it's cold. I'm gonna go back inside right now. I'll give another update later today as we have this predicted until 5 p.m. So that could be a really substantial amount of ice to coat everything. And fingers crossed we won't lose power because we do not have our generator set up. And I happen to have 4 refrigerators and 5 freezers. Well, it's a few hours later, and we've been without power for about three and a half hours. And I took advantage of that by organizing 3 closets. And I just wanted to come out. It's kind of slowed down. It's more like just a drizzly rain at this stage. I think we're probably like 34 or 35 degrees. And happily, I don't think that there's any major damage. I'm gonna very carefully walk down these steps because, like, again, the handrail is all ice, but like the concrete and stuff, ice did not form. So I didn't even have to use any of my salt, which is great. And let me turn this around and I'll show you what it's looking like after about, I don't know, 6 or 7 hours of precipitation right around freezing. Well, you can see the palm. It got windy and it actually sort of blew off a lot of the ice that was holding it down. Hopefully these will bounce back up. I wonder if I interrupt the process, if that'll help make them bounce. I usually try to stay out of it. I kind of think nature can take its course. But admittedly, this is actually pretty fun. So there's that. And you just kind of slam it. Okay, I had some entertainment there. These pots are, you know, kind of weighted down, but I know from experience these will bounce back. That's why these mustards are so practical. Everything here looks fine. I mean, the cars are definitely frozen, but I don't have anywhere to go. Phlomis, like I said, broadleaf evergreens are the ones that look the most dramatic. But it doesn't look like any of these trees. I was a little worried about that cinnamomum, about these splitting open, but it wasn't enough ice to make that actually happen. It's kind of cool though, you know, to look at like these glass sculptures and they're just coated in ice. It's kind of pretty. All the ground is, you know, all the beds are pretty much frozen. So we pan through that. Magnolia still is bent, but I feel confident that it'll rebound once the weight of the ice melts. I think that one really bent over a lot. And the ground is really soggy. This was a substantial amount of water that fell. It's definitely not every day that there are icicles hanging from the roofs in central North Carolina. One thing that looks especially pretty are the blueberries. Let's walk over here and get a closer view. There's something magical about ice encasing everything. Of course, being deciduous, this is not a problem at all for the blueberries. And like I said, this was not a damaging ice storm. We're really lucky. It'll be really great to have power again, but you know, it's all good. I've been organizing. So the whole neighborhood is still without power. But can you tell where the guy that works in nuclear energy lives? We have TV and heat and a microwave and refrigerator and all kinds of handy things like lights. David has definitely proven himself more than capable. Usually he's at work when we lose power, so this is actually really exciting. I was just telling everybody that you're a magician, but you're not a magician because you're just a guy who understands electricity.
Yeah, I work at a nuclear power plant.
And we're the only house that has power. We have a lot of power. Well, I hope all of you have stayed safe during this giant storm that swept up the East Coast, and just wishing you well, and thanks so much for watching, everybody.